What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a while since I've been on here, since I've just now got back in the truck from home time. So I figured I'd reach out to you guys, gals, and seeing what's going on in the YouTube world. Everybody had a good weekend? Let's see if I can't turn this thing up a little bit. There we go. Sorry, it's a little bright over here. Yeah. Good audio, video. Looks good on my end, but give me a thumbs down. Shoot, who cares? Had a pretty good time at the house. Got to hang out with the hot wifey, the in-laws, my sister. So she had a good birthday here on the 10th. So I'm gonna stay out for a little bit now. Probably come back. I don't know, October, November. So I got a load headed to South Carolina. So that's where I'm headed to. And picking up here in Walton, Kentucky, which is like 63 miles from the house. So looks like picking up some Swans stuff. Hey, Truggling Harmon, I'm doing good. How about yourself? Doing good, doing good. So I was gonna have to call Chad Rich up and see if he can give me a couple more training. I hadn't been on the truck in so long, so he didn't answer his phone. Of course, I'm just kidding. But got everything tucked away. My appointment's not till 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm right here beside of it. So I'm going to run up here in a little bit if I can go ahead and grab it and knock off some miles tonight, because it's actually going to be a little bit tight. What's up, big dog? So the appointment delivers on the 20th, and it's not due. The appointment's not until tomorrow, Monday, the 19th, until 0900, and that's going through Knoxville, going through Asheville, around Spartansburg. So got quite a bit of big cities. If it's not ready tonight. But this place is notorious for early pickup, dropping hooks, which is what I like about this place. But I did get a load out here one time, and actually I was coming off of picking up my wife, and excuse me, and my appointment was set for Saturday at like, I don't know, noon or something, and they had done a company picnic. And they had shut down the whole plant. So I got detention, obviously. I think like $400 detention, and it wasn't even paid by them because they said that Prime knew about it. So Prime paid me for the appointment time mistake or whatever so I assume the sales department got hit with the bill. I'm up here in TA off of exit 175, off of Interstate 75, in Walton, Kentucky. Big dog, it's where I'm at. Oh, trucking with Harmony, I was just kidding about needing more training. I hadn't been in the truck, and it's probably been, I don't know, 12. See, I came home on the 7th. So 11 days. 11 days. So just making a good friendly joke. I'm good. I drove it up here 65 miles to the house from here, and I'm less than a quarter of a mile from the pickup. So I'm gonna run it in there tonight. We'll run it over there and see if I can sit the orders ready. It says there's no overnight parking there, but sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It just depends on, I guess who's working and who you tick off or whatever. But they're pretty good about getting this loads completed early. So Chad and I delivered here a few times while I was on his truck as well. So I knew this is probably this and Nestle coming off of home time or going to home time. That's typically my drops, is here in Walton, Kentucky, or Nestle in Mount Sterling. So, but I got a few videos I'm going to upload from home time, just kind of hanging out, little fun videos, walking through the farmer's market, whatever. Nothing trucking related, just kind of hanging out with me and the wife. I'll tell you what, this TA, I got here probably about an hour ago, and there was only like 2 spots. And there's typically some spots. How long you had your truck, and how many miles have you put on it? What's your average per month versus revenue? So I've had my truck since March 27th. Is when I got my load. My first load out was March 27th. I think I'm right at about 42,000 on the truck right now, and mileage wise, my average, I'm running about anywhere from 24 to 2,600 miles a week. Revenue, obviously, it varies. Right now, being home for 11 days so far, I'm $900 in the hole, and so basically 2 weeks without pay. But this load that I'm picking up it's $1,300, and it's about 523 miles from here. So it's a pretty good revenue. My only biggest concern is, of course, going into South Carolina, you may drop down to Florida or I definitely don't want to go back into the Northeast, because typically those don't pay too great, being that close. But that's good. Plus, you're getting home time. Yeah, I'm definitely getting home time, man. That's one of the things when I came out here. That home, it's not true. I mean, I tell you something I won't do is it. So before I came back from home time, you can go back and look at my last video that I put out. The truck flash was in the shop for the second time, with the same air leak that had me down before. So that week was a bust week as well for revenue, just because of the truck I actually had to have my load repowered. It all kind of worked out, but I mean, I could have got more revenue in if it hadn't broke down, and I could have finished out the week. I was just so pissed off that I was just like, just go ahead and just route me out to the house. I'm through this week, through with the truck. But I did I did order me a Freightliner while I was at home, and it should be in December 2nd is what the uh, the estimated date is. Of course, you know that's 90 days, whatever. Sometimes they're taking longer to get them in. So how come you don't run out west to East Coast with the produce? I do sometimes. They do that a lot, Big Dog, with teams. You know, I have come out of Nebraska, Kansas City. So that's, I mean, obviously those are great loads that I mean, I'll take them all day long. Um, but in my past experience, once I get from west to east coast, they try to keep me over to the east coast continually for like 2 weeks. And once you get over to the east coast, I want out of there. I want, because the revenue is just the revenue versus your fuel mileage is garbage in my opinion. So it's not worth it. So I talked to my fleet manager about it, and I told him, you know, I was like, you know, I feel like you kind of hold me hostage over here, you know, and so I'm just going to start declining loads. If it continually stays over there now, um, if I'm there for a day or two, that's fine as far as East Coast, but get me out of there, get me back to a place that I'm going to get better revenue, just like the meat loads. So, what's up, ma'am? Sitting here in Cactus, Texas, waiting for a damn load, never come here. Cactus, Texas. I don't think I've ever been there before. Been to a lot of places in Texas. Prisoner, are you with Prime, or are you with somebody else? Because I haven't seen you on here in a while. Oh. Oh. Give me a little water action here, guys. A little water action. So, want to talk? I'm with Prime, been running. So, okay, sweet. So, what are you usually getting right now? Uh, One, who's your fleet manager? And two, how often do you run out west to east, or do you get stuck out west a lot, or do you get stuck out east a lot? Let me know, prisoner on the highway. Jason, you know I'm with KLLM now, but I was told never go to the East Coast because how bad it is. I ain't gonna say it's bad. I've just had some bad experiences, Harmony, and you know, for example, you know, I got a load out of New York, and I've done a video on this right here as well. You can go back and look at a couple of videos ago. Went from New York, upper state New York, to Pittsburgh, PA, and just with the amount of tows and the that you go through, you know, it's just not it's a great load if it's getting you out of the East Coast, uh, but I actually had a load rejected because the shipper gave me the wrong paperwork, and it was 4th of July weekend, and so I got stuck there for, I mean, for probably about 14 hours, and dealing with sales and claims, and seeing what they uh, so The load came out, so it was only like a 451-mile load from New York to PA, and I mean it paid like $1,200, so it was a good paying load, especially coming out of the East Coast. But when I got there, they rejected the load and losing that work, and they only paid me $700 for it. So definitely was not a happy camper. So I was very, very frustrated. And plus, it was the holiday weekend of 4th of July. So I stayed over there for probably about a week and a half, bouncing from, Allentown to this is, I mean, just BS, BS places that just will, because on not hilly country, when I say not hilly country, I'm talking about like Missouri, um, even Kentucky, but going out West Virginia and stuff, my fuel, depending on the load, but when I'm going out there, usually I'm about 42 to anywhere to 44,000 pounds, and I'm only getting like 7.6 to 8 on my miles per gallon, and it sucks. Anytime else, I'm getting in the nines, sometimes in the tens, with the international. So my fleet manager, Steven, I don't know last name right now. I've never been to East Coast other than West VA and PA. In TNT, I ran the whole West Coast. Yeah. Cactus, Texas. Well, haven't heard that place in a long time. Been there a bunch, hauling on for meat loads. Uh, yeah, I've been to, we didn't run out East Coast either, really. I mean, maybe like 5 times during the TNT phase, and that was majority of leaving Laredo, Texas, going to, you know, up to PA, or we went from California, took berries up to Maine. We hauled some a high val load one time, and coming out of California, going over to Connecticut. So that was where you got your miles in for TNT. Um, but just as a solo rider or driver, I don't care if I ever go up to East Coast unless I'm just simply going in and out. In my past experience, that's not been the case. But I talked to my fleet manager and expressed my concern and told him that that loads, I'll just start declining loads like he told me to do. He said, "Well, you declined loads before. Why don't you just decline it?" Because obviously they tell you that we're giving you the best loads right out of the gate, but I've declined loads and got a better load the next within 30 minutes. So so that's what I'm going to start doing. I mean, it doesn't make sense financially to do that, to stay in there for a week at a time, going from especially West Virginia. Allentown's not that bad in my opinion. PA, in New York, upper part of New York wasn't that bad too if you're taking 80 all the way across. Um, but you get in those places in PA, sometimes they just suck the fuel. At least internationally do. I mean, it my fuel mileage went from July, so right after, um, several months after I got my truck, I went in and took the ACE 2 class to kind of really figure out my numbers and everything. So for the month of June, yeah, I think it was June. Excuse me. Maybe it's for May. I can't remember what it was. It was May or June, but for that month, I had all 4 weeks I think there's actually one more extra week in May, so it may be in May. But I had all 4 weeks staying out, running, and my fuel mileage, and that was not going over to East Coast East Coast at all. My fuel cost was 8 cents. So they said that your target should be 10 or under. And right now I'm going, I'm like 15 because I stayed over in East Coast so much. That 81 was a killer, nothing but traffic, at least it was when I drove. Yeah, I ran a solo Texas to Washington State, and then headed to Idaho to Oklahoma and got paid $400 paycheck, worst week ever. Oh damn! But I assume from Texans and Washington State that probably took you a couple. You probably got a pretty good paycheck next period though. Is that right, prisoner? Sometimes you take it in the shorts one week for those long loads like that, but I assume that your next week was pretty good. Guys, I'm gonna wrap this thing up December 2nd. Hopefully the Freightliner will be in before then. Hopefully we'll get some people. Well, there's Mr. Rich himself right there. Hey man, I tried to call you to see if you can give me some more training because I haven't been in the trucking so long, but you didn't answer. So I had to hitchhike up here to Walton, Kentucky, man. How much per gallon is your savings? So that's what I'm talking about right there. The savings on fuel is huge, but I'm just talking about what my actual fuel cost per mile went up from 8 cents when I did my ACE 2 class to now it's currently, let me see, from my fuel. So it's 16. So going back 8 weeks with 15,124 miles, I'm at 0.16. I don't know if you guys can see that or not right there. 0.164 on the right now for the 8 week, and for the 4 weeks I'm at 17. So that's double. But again, that's what East Coast. Because that's basically been my whole since May, since taking the ACE 2 class. That's where I've been at. I've been into Virginia, to North Carolina, New Jersey, Maryland, PA, New York, Connecticut, Ohio. That's just where I've been, and that kind of shows you how it'll kill you on your fuel miles. What's up, Dads? Yeah, it was 2,600, but I stayed in the Midwest for that. Yeah, you need to clean that dirty ass truck. Better get that thing cleaned up for that new truck coming in. When's your new truck come in, Chad? September, wasn't it? September something. So you're right around the corner. Right around the corner. I'll tell you what, guys, my wife was my mother-in-law was telling my wife a story because she used to work at the 12. Nice. She used to work at McLean, Cumberland, which obviously you see a lot of trucks out there at McLean. But she was actually in the return department, so she handled all the open stuff and damaged goods and all that stuff. But how a trucker got thrown out of bed while the driver was driving and killed him. So now my wife's like, you need to get those belts back up there. We need to do that. But I'm like, you just need not to sleep while I'm driving. You stay up there with me, but that's not what happens a lot of times. But so I've got them underneath the bed here. With solo drivers, I don't ever use them. Obviously, I'm always parked when whatever. But hey, Chad, guess what I got, man? While I was at the house. I don't know if you guys can. Let me see there. Come on now. There we go. Profile RTA. So it's brand new. I just took it out of the box, put the new tube on here. But who has the RTA? So I did the difference between an RDA and an RTA was for the vape. But the RDA is for the drips. Basically, this drips on there. You got to do it like I think like every 2 days or whatever. But the RTA is for the tanks. But this has the mesh for. So these are the rebuildable ones. So I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about or not, but I'm trying to take it off here. Bear with me. So right here, I haven't got the mesh on there yet. There we go. But there's a mesh thing goes around this right here. Then you slide your cotton through there to wick it. So I just now replace my Falcon tank with the dual coil bamboo, which I've heard Bags talked about, him having to go to a triple coil, but I don't know for those out there who vape. And but this dual coil, don't get the regular one. Get the one with the bamboo, which I think is like the M2. Flavor's phenomenal. It lasts for probably I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long you use, but it'll last me probably about 5,000 hits. And of course, mine has the counter on there, which probably is about 2 or 3 weeks for me. But I got the juice pink, and if you like strawberry, now I've had a lot of different flavors. I've had a lot of different flavors, but this pink ends game is it's good, man. I mean, it's really good. It's really clear juice, so you can see. It don't jack up your coils like some desserts liquid does. Some e-liquids, if they're really, really dark, usually they got a lot of additive in there, or they're the high nicotine, which this is 3 nicotine, and it's pretty clear. So anyway, guys, you guys have a good one. I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to run up here and see if this load's ready. Get this thing, hopefully it's ready, that way I can get on the road. But you guys be safe.